The gradual transformation of an otherwise normal yet socially inept boy into a cold-blooded killer leaves a young man dead and a community traumatized. Join us today as we discuss the horrifying case of Jarrod Murray.
Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're gonna have uploaded this episode.
So,
Yeah,
okay,
go for it.
so the name of this case is Jarrod Murray. Born on July 5th, 1994, in Asher County, Oklahoma, where he spent most of his early years, Jarrod Murray was described as a social recluse who had numerous awkward social interactions and didn't fit in well with his peers. He had a string of odd behaviors he exhibited from a young age. Jarrod tried to commit suicide on his fifth birthday, but failed and was found unconscious in his room by his brother. He wore a black suit to school every day, as he described he liked the quote weight of it. Jarrod was exceptionally bright, as described by his teachers, but lacked the necessary discipline and motivation to better pursue his studies. Because of this, Jarrod did not graduate high school, instead enrolling to East Central University in Oklahoma with a GED in 2012. He stayed at the Pesagi Hall dorms. His bizarre behaviors continued in the university, where he still wore his signature black suit. An October 3rd report by campus police details an altercation that took place between Jarrod and a fellow student, Wyatt Freeman. During off hours, Wyatt was playing the game Mario Kart when a debate broke out between him and Jarrod, in which Jarrod argued Wyatt couldn't make him tap out with a chokehold. They decided to settle the matter, and Wyatt put Jarrod in a near naked choke. Jarrod almost immediately passed out from it. After Murray gained consciousness, the two young men continued to bicker. At one point, Murray punched Freeman and spat on him, the report shows. Eventually, campus police responded and took statements from Murray, Freeman, and three other young men, including Gennaro Sanchez. Gennaro Sanchez, who lived in Pesagi Hall near Murray, signed a statement confirming Freeman's versions of events. The 18-year-old homicide victim described how Murray began convulsing on the floor after the chokehold and how Murray claimed to have memory loss due to lack of oxygen. Wyatt then insists that Jerry was full of it, Sanchez wrote in his statement. Jerry then yells and lunges at Wyatt, punching him in the temple and spitting on Wyatt. Police reports provided by East Central University reveal that Freeman was afraid Murray would, quote, harm him after the chokehold incident. Freeman then insisted Jarrod be moved to another dorm, or at least a different room from him. Wyatt was afraid Jarrod might harm him. He drew his concerns from the fact that Jarrod owned a copy of the anarchist manual and often spoke of building bombs and killing people. Wyatt described Jarrod as extremely off-putting. On December 6, 2012, Jarrod asked Gennaro Sanchez for a ride to a local Walmart in exchange for gas money. Sanchez was described as someone who looked for the good in people and so agreed to drive Jarrod there in his black pickup. When they were nearing the Walmart, Jarrod pulled out a handgun and forced Gennaro at gunpoint to drive 5 miles north of Asher to a remote spot. Gennaro begged for his life, but after reaching the intended location, Jarrod shot Sanchez in the head 2 times. Jarrod then dragged Gennaro's body out of his pickup and shot him in the head again. He then dug a small ditch and disposed of Gennaro's body in it, and covered it up with leaves and branches. Within a few hours of the murder, Jarrod confessed to the killing of Gennaro Sanchez to the police. During his subsequent questioning, Jarrod was very open in conveying the details of the murder and at times corrected the interrogating officer when he missed a small detail. He was well mannered in his dealing with the police but showed no remorse or regret in the actions he had taken. For this, he was nicknamed the well mannered murderer. Quote, I wanted to know what it felt like to kill, Jarrod explained when asked why he did it. The gun Jarrod had used to kill Sanchez was stolen from Daniel Davis, who couldn't be located. His mother, however, Linda Davis, confirmed the gun was her son's and told the police she knew Jarrod and his family. In the aftermath of the murder, Murray was evaluated by multiple mental health professionals. All but one agreed he displayed serious signs of psychotic behavior and that, if released, he posed a significant threat to public safety. There is no single item in any of the reports that one can point to and say, quote, that's it. Wait, let me say that again. There's no single item in any of the reports that one can point to say, and that's it. No indication that Murray would eventually transform from a maladjusted adolescent into a cold-blooded killer. His evolution was a slow, subtle transition. Jarrod was charged with first-degree murder, which he was found not guilty due to insanity. Gennaro Sanchez's mother wanted the death penalty for Murray. Murray is now currently in Vinita Institute for the mentally insane. Yeah, that's it. It's a short one.
One, he wanted to commit suicide when he was 5.
Yeah.
What could a 5-year-old?
That blew me away.
Why would?
How did he even
Yeah,
know
no
what suicide was back then?
5-year-olds' lives cannot be miserable. Like,
Dude, when I was 5, all I knew was Ben 10.
it's not
Ben
miserable.
10 and Dora the Explorer.
So he never faced trial because he was incapable of it. Is that right?
No, he was found not guilty due to insanity. He did face trial.
What about his parents?
What do
Were
you
they
mean?
ever in the picture? Because there was like
From
no
what
mention
I
about
could tell, his parents were very they were not good parents in the sense they weren't very active.
So he had like
At
no
least from
family.
what I could tell. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he had family. It's just he wasn't very close with his parents.
I wonder what happens after he's like rehabilitated. Do they just put him out into society again, or like?
I think they're not just gonna
Stupid.
throw
I mean,
him out. They're probably
like-
gonna make him they're gonna make
No,
him
but
go
think
through a
about the
mental health.
guy that died.
Yeah.
Like, what justice did he get? Absolutely nothing, because this guy
Yeah,
didn't
that's
even
true.
serve a year or anything. It's just
And if you look at it, he
was
really didn't
unfit.
die for anything.
exactly.
Yeah,
And all he was doing was gonna drive the guy to whatever location he wanted.
Walmart. Like the most mundane task, drive me to Walmart, okay? Then shoots him in the head.
Were they friends, by the way? Like close friends?
No, not really. Gennaro and Gennaro and Jarrod were not close friends. Although they lived in the same dorm, so they probably were acquaintances at best. Jarrod didn't really have that many friends. He was very, very incel. He wore a black suit to school every day. He literally dressed up as the Undertaker to school every day. If that doesn't scream serial killer vibes, I don't know what does.
And then teachers or anyone just randomly decided to come forward and help this guy and send him to a psychiatrist or something
It's a dorm room, so everybody there is really aggressive and say weird things to each other. So I think none of that was off-putting. One of the teachers, she was talking about Jarrod, how what she found him doing was odd, but not extraordinary. It wasn't so off-putting that she would have predicted that he would become what he did.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And now I bet she regrets not coming forward and doing anything because
Cases like this, how can you put the blame on anyone but the person who perpetrated it? You can't be oh my god, why didn't you catch this or that? That's unfair, right?
if she knew, this is why
It's not
people
like she
say
knew
you gotta
the future,
trust
bro.
your. No, she did have a feeling his behavior was kind of strange. Come on.
Yeah, but you can't send someone in jail for that.
She didn't have to send the guy for jail. She could have got himself help because clearly his parents were not going to
All
do
of
it.
the self-help, all the psychiatry and everything that would have come with her reporting his odd behaviors, quote unquote, would be voluntary. So if he wanted to go, he would go. And like in all likelihood, he probably would choose not to go. So plus she made it out like there wasn't anything that was alarming about him. He was just kind of weird. That's it. You know? You don't think the kind of weird kid is gonna kill someone on the whim, right?
No, it's just thought he'd be suspicious of everyone immediately.
That would just be weird, man. If you were suspicious of everyone being a serial killer, then I think you would be the one who would need counseling.
I mean, think about it. The certain cases just teach you things like this, how you're supposed to like study. I wonder if people even do psychology just to like judge other people and try to
Maybe,
place them
but,
as what
you know,
sort
like-
of serial killer they could be or something.
I think we
You know?
forget like there are literally 7 billion people out there. Okay, and like there are countless. I'm sure there are literally millions of college students, right, who do odd behaviors. Like you can't just classify all of them as maybe being a serial killer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they
There's a
probably just
lot
have
of
other
weird
issues.
people out there. Like also like we hear about this one case and we're like, oh my god, and then we become super like suspicious of everyone. Like it's not like that. Not everyone who's kind of weird turns into a serial killer. I mean, this guy wasn't a serial killer. He just killed one person, but still,
And he's just a murderer.
he's just one murderer. Yeah. Also, what I found weird was just he was so well mannered. When he was being transported from the police station to the courtroom, one of the reporters, one of the news channels I was seeing, she was like asking him questions, like yes or no questions, and he was always responding with like very, very monotone, very direct, yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes ma'am, no ma'am, like in a very respectful
Did
fashion.
they ever classify what sort of a psychology issue he had, or just the fact that he was
I couldn't
unstable?
find I couldn't find anything like that. But he was considered insane. So
Considered. I feel bad for the
Mhm.
victim's parents. 'Cause they got
yeah,
no justice.
they really didn't. You know, but in like a really dark way, it's kind of a good thing that he showed his colors to the community. Now they know to stay away from him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It sucks though.
Yeah, it does, man. I think besides the tried to commit suicide at 5 thing, there was nothing that was incredibly alarming. Just very weird, and he seemed very like socially inept. But that's it.
It still alarms me he ever considered suicide at the age of 5.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, it's so weird.
Like, I mean, isn't that a sign to his parents that he's clearly in need of help? Like, I mean, if they couldn't even give it to him, like, aren't there like other means?
I think maybe that's why. I think his mom and dad are just very lazy parents.
The fact that it's actually not so old, like the case,
Yeah,
it's kind of.
I mean, this is in Oklahoma, man. Who's gonna go to Oklahoma? While researching this case, like out of nowhere, I
Mhm.
stumbled upon this fact that in the US alone, at any given time, there are at least, I think, 20 to 30 active serial killers.
Oh, that's very helpful knowing. Because not only is that
Yeah.
completely bizarrely crazy, but
But you know, like, if you think about it, man, like, think about all of the famous serial killers that almost everyone knows about. like the Zodiac Killer, the Night Stalker, the Golden State Killer, the what's it called, Ted Bundy. Like all of these names.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have anyone alive nowadays who's like that, who's that famous, right?
True.
I think that breed of serial killers is dying out. Those like super, what would you call, super infamous serial killers.
No, I just can't help but think how unfair it is. That's it.
Yeah, it is really unfair.
I mean, like, yeah, I get that guy does have psychological issues, but then at some point he's gonna have to owe it up and do something, like, because that family probably got no closure at all, like
Yeah,
nothing.
that's true. I don't think that you can
And-
just put him off the hook because he had psychological
Exactly.
issues.
I mean, you could do something, like, I'm pretty sure there's something, like, at least
I mean, he's in a
serve-
correctional facility as of right now, so
yeah, at least he's not a threat to the public. That's something.
yeah.
But then they have human rights as well, so
Yeah, man. Dude, it's like there's so many things about the prison system in at least in the United States that are so awful. Like some prisoners get out of prison not because they've served their sentence or because of an appeal. Like, you know, you go for an appeal and then your sentence gets
Yeah.
reduced, or on parole. A lot of like prisoners get out of prison, and even like really infamous prisoners get out of prison because of good behavior.
yeah, merits.
Yeah, no, but I don't think when you're in like a prison environment, right? Like you're not as free
That
as you are
shouldn't be a
outside.
thing.
Yeah, but you're not as free as you are outside. So it doesn't make as much sense to like
On
do
your
bad
best
things in
behavior.
prison. And then yeah, like it makes more sense to be on your best behavior in prison than you would be outside. Because outside you have freedom, then you can do whatever you want.
I feel like
And
when
that's
you
how
have
they
those
get into
house
prison.
arrest sort of things. Does that
Like,
make
like
more sense?
what do you mean?
Like house arrest, where you're basically trapped in your own house.
Yeah, but that's like rare, man. I don't think that's as common as just being sent to prison itself. I just find it so weird that you're let out of prison because of good behavior in prison. Like that's not a representation of how you would act in society when you're outside of prison. Just because you were good in prison doesn't mean you'd be good outside of prison.
But no, the thing is, when, like, what I learned is that when you're released on bail or like for good behavior or whatever it is, and if you commit a crime within that period of time or ever, and you're what do you call this, and then you're trialed again and you're found guilty, you would get a new sentence plus the remainder of your old sentence, which I think is a custodial sentence, and then you have to serve those sentence. And I feel like there are some cases where you would just have, like, if you're caught for a second time, like if you're found guilty and if you were released on bail before or something, you would like have a life sentence or something, like a huge
Really?
amount of, yeah, like there's a huge penalty sort of thing that you'd have to serve.
If you reoffend, you get a life sentence?
Yeah, in reoffend. In certain
Is that
cases,
it's
in certain, but in most, it's like you get a new sentence plus the remainder of your old sentence. It's added
Shit,
to your
man.
new sentence.
I never want to end
Like
up.
it depends on the type of crimes. That's what I know.
Yeah, it does.
Like there's some. Mhm.
Oof, man. The prison is scary, man. I don't know if I would ever survive in prison. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed this week's episode. That was the Jarrod Murray case.
Like, this
I
is the
urge
third
you
one.
guys
Just
to
repeat it.
do a bit more research on it. And yeah, check out our other content. We got a lot of cool podcasts going on. We're trying to be a bit consistent, but it's just our schedules are kind of
Fine.
busy
Emphasis
and
on
not
the
aligned.
try.
So yeah. So stay tuned. Hopefully next week we'll get a fresh new episode for you guys ready.
All right, man.
Adios.
Peace.